Hey, I'm Greg Hackney. I'm here at Smith Mountain Lake at the Elite Series. Just finishing up. Skeet just won the tournament. Um, it's one of those deals. He brought that swim bait out here from California. It's the exact same swim bait that won at Clear Lake. It's funny how we travel all over the country, and two lakes will be so similar. But you wouldn't think that Smith Mountain Lake in Virginia would be like Clear Lake in California, but they're both mountain reservoirs that are flat. This is basically a pretty flat, pretty flat body of water. Got a lot of big flat points, and the fish just relate to this stuff the same, and it's clear water, and when that swim bait bite happens, you can't beat it. Basically what I've done this week, I started off the first 2 days of the tournament exclusively sight fishing, and I pretty much caught everything I had found that didn't leave the first 2 days of the tournament. Yesterday we had a little weather, cold front came through. I caught the second biggest bag of the tournament. Of the day yesterday, just fishing. I went to running windy banks where I'd seen those cruising fish, those better than average, females up floating around, and I actually just was flipping. It's funny that you think you need wind to flip, but here the water is so clear. These fish are really hard to catch, unless, when you have real slick conditions. But that wind stirs the water up, around those tops, and they can't see as well, and that's the big deal, and you can surprise them. The deal is when in real clear water, when it's slick, it's hard to slip a bait in on them. That without them seeing it way before it gets there or knowing that the boat is around or whatever. But once that wind's blowing, you can slip that bait in there. And I don't think, that yesterday I was actually getting feeding bites. These fish are up to spawn. They're up there staging. They've made that move. They've already fed up. And that pre-spawn bite is kind of over with, and they're just waiting for everything to align, and they're fixing to deposit their eggs, and go to spawning. So it's kind of a weird deal because you're fishing for a fish that's in more of a defensive mode than an actual feeding mode. So that wind yesterday, just like I said, it makes it harder for them to see, and I just drop it on their heads, and get a few of them to bite. A lot of those big ones don't bite. I was around the last 2 days, no telling how many 5 and 6 pounders, and flipping was not the way to go, to catch those fish. Undoubtedly, it was a swim bait. But the only deal about the swim bait is no telling how many dollars worth of swim baits in this boat, and I don't have one like he's throwing. And I do know enough about it that if you're not, because I've run into this experience like at Clear Lake, that they'll get so in tuned on one bait, and it may not be the same bait today as what it is tomorrow, if that makes sense. Like every day is different, and you can tell if you throw your swim bait out there and you reel it in and you get followers, chances are you'll never get a bite. If they're following it, chances are you'll never get a bite. More times than not, the bait that they bite, they don't follow it. You'll throw it out there and get bit on it. You won't have any, chase it into the boat. Or if you do, it'll only be occasionally. More times than not, that fish will bite it. And, the deal with the swim bait is you're fishing it real slow. You're not getting in a hurry with it. You're not burning it or anything. So the deal is the fish is getting a really good look at it. So it has to be something that appeals to his senses, his sight senses. Because it's a very visible, they don't hear it, they don't feel it, they see it, and it has to look right. And honestly, it's, in a way for me, it's kind of messed up conventional fishing, because used to a big crankbait, a jig, those were the kind of baits that, caught the